Ian Hunter, 86 years old, 2025. Ace Frehley, 74 years old, 2025. Steve Miller, 82 years old, 2025. Bruce Springsteen, 76 years old, 2025. Paul McCartney, 83 years old, 2025. David Lee Roth, 71 years old, 2025. Phil Collins, 74 years old, 2025. Mick Jagger, 82 years old, 2025. Mark Farner, 77 years old, 2025. Roger Taylor, 76 years old, 2025. Paul Rogers, 76 years old, 2025. John Fogerty, 80 years old, 2025. Alan Clark, 83 years old, 2025. David Gilmour, 79 years old, 2025. John Waite, 73 years old, 2025. Steve Winwood, 77 years old, 2025. John Lodge, 80 years old, 2025. Mike Love, 84 years old, 2025. David Essex, 78 years old, 2025. Eric Clapton, 80 years old, 2025. Sting, 74 years old, 2025. David Coverdale, 74 years old, 2025. Bob Seger, 79 years old, 2025. Jimmy Page, 81 years old, 2025. Don Felder, 77 years old, 2025. Neil Young, 79 years old, 2025. Ross Valerie, 76 years old, 2025. Ian Gillan, 80 years old, 2025. Brian Ferry, 79 years old, 2025. Billy Joel, 76 years old, 2025. John Mellencamp, 73 years old, 2025. Robin Zander, 72 years old, 2025. Elton John, 78 years old, 2025. Keith Richards, 82 years old, 2025. David Byrne, 72 years old, 2025. Mark Lindsay, 83 years old, 2025. Lindsey Buckingham, 76 years old, 2025. Steve Perry, 76 years old, 2025. Iggy Pop, 78 years old, 2025. Bob Dylan, 83 years old, 2025. Peter Murphy, 67 years old, 2025. Roger Daltrey, 81 years old, 2025. James Taylor, 77 years old, 2025. Dion DiMucci, 86 years old, 2025. John Oates, 76 years old, 2025. Barry Gibb, 78 years old, 2025. Jackson Brown, 76 years old, 2025. Paul Stanley, 73 years old, 2025. Kevin Cronin, 73 years old, 2025. Daryl Hall, 78 years old, 2025. Cat Stevens, 76 years old, 2025.